Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Jay's PC Impossible. Today I am going to talk about something that hasn't really been talked about quite extensively. A lot of people have done reviews on this particular product, but the reviews have been, I don't want to say short. Well, maybe they have been short, but the reviews for the most part have been sort of quickly talked about. Nothing has been done pretty in depth, and I'm going to try to make this video, well, I'm not going to say short. I don't want to make it too short because then you don't learn enough, but at the same time I don't want to make it too long to where halfway through the video you're shooting yourself and I will be blamed for someone's suicide, which I can't carry that on my conscience. So without further ado, we're going to jump right into it. And for those wondering, this is a live look of Dark Void, my flagship system, and there's a reason why I have a live stream going on of my system here in the screen. So let's jump right into it. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the NZXT CAM software. Now, for those of you that have already downloaded this and are wondering, hey, well, mine looks like this and I don't have these three tabs at the top. Well, for those of you that don't own an all-in-one liquid cooler from NZXT, hence known to Kraken, or the Grid Plus fan controller, or the Hue Plus light controller, you will not only will you not have these three tabs, but you won't have the bottom information. But since I do own all three, I have basic information of the Kraken down here, or I can switch to Grid, or I can switch to Hue, and I have the tabs up top. Now, as you can see right off the bat, off of the basics tab, there is information here that even the novice of computer users can understand. I mean, we're talking about your RAM usage, GPU or CPU temperatures, CPU load temperatures for both GPUs and their load. This is dependent on how many GPUs you have. So if you have one, you just have one circle. If you have two like mine. You have three, you have a thing up here to switch to the third one. And if you have four, again, the same thing. If this is installed on a server, I'm guessing it might have support for all cards that you have in your server, so you can keep track of all of them. But yes, for the most part, this is what the basic layout does look like, and it's very understandable, very legible, and very clean. For those of you that don't necessarily understand too much about PC hardware technology, or you just, you just don't want to waste your time reading through all the advanced stuff. But for those of you that are the hardcore PC builders and you want to know everything possible that you can about your system, we have an advanced tab, and this advanced tab shows you everything you would possibly want to know about your system. Every single CPU core is represented here. It shows you the minimum temperatures, the maximum temperatures, the real-time temperatures, and the per core load for each core. You can do it by minutes, you can do it hourly basis, day basis, week basis. I mean, the amount of information that's thrown at you is ridiculous. It's not overwhelming. I mean, maybe it might be overwhelming for some people, but it's a good amount of information. It's a relevant amount of information. You have CPU status here. I mean, you can see here clearly I'm running 4.7. Sometimes it'll jump up to 5.0, which is what the max clock speed on my CPU is. It's showing you voltage, the CPU fan, the actual CPU fan speed, which actually isn't running a fan. It's actually running a liquid cooler, but I mean, it's represented down here, and it shows it to you at all times, depending on which one of these tabs you have selected. GPU wise, I mean, same thing. You have the GPU temperature, you have its load for each GPU. If you have more than one GPU, it'll show you that as well. The current clock, current memory speed. Right now I'm running 4,000, so my effective is actually 8,000. Yes, I am overclocked ridiculously. Memory load, the GPU fan speed, again, hour, day, week basis, real time, minimum and maximum. I mean, all this information is right here in front of you. You can switch over the motherboard. It'll show you the V core I mean, you got the amount of information that's given to you is, if you're a hardcore builder, this is the program you want. It shows you temperatures, shows you RAM usage for hour, day, week. Again, I mean, this is in-depth information about how your system is running, so you can keep up with, you know, if you feel like you were getting less frames per second in the game, for instance, you can go back and check out how it is that your system was running. You can go back and see, like, if there's any hiccups in power, if there's any loss, if there's a spike in load, or if the load just wasn't enough. Keep your minds clean, people. I'm warning you. Anyways, again, if the load wasn't, you know, what you thought it was supposed to be, and again, I'm saying things that are probably gonna make people laugh and giggle and whatnot, but again, days, week, hours, minutes, just the amount of information that they give you is massive. And then further information is thrown at you with the expanded tables. Here you got the full specs, you got the code name for the CPU. A lot of people thought the 9590 Black was called the Bulldozer. That's false. 9590 is Vishera. That is his actual code name. And this program is actually scanning the hardware to find out the code name given to it by the parent company. Talking socket types, 32 nanometers, 4.7 base. I mean, all this information, it's just an incredible amount of information that they give you. How many programs do you know that'll tell you, okay, yes, this is an NVIDIA GeForce GTX 960, and it's using the GM206, which is not only the code name, but that is actually the chip that is used in it. If I'm not mistaken, the chip for the Titan X's and the 980s and whatnot are, I think they're lower, if I understand that right. But again, I mean, how many programs do you know that actually tell you what the chipset is? 120 GDDR5, 28 nanometer, 12, showing you the base clock, the turbo clock, the CUDA cores, memory interface, pixel fill rate, texture fill rate, DirectX version, motherboard information, Southbridge information, Southbridge chipset, the name of the company, RAM information, all your hard drive information. I mean, the amount of things that are just being tossed at you is just incredible. The depth at which NZXT programmers put into the amount of information that's being sent to you, that's being given to you, is incredible. And this is all information that, again, hardcore enthusiasts want to see all this information. And at the same time, the most basic of people will learn from all this information. They will start with the basic and, you know, work their way up to the point where they might actually learn all this stuff and understand what is all going on in their system. And that's, in long term, that's exactly what we want people to understand, is how their system is working. Build information. Again, you got information here about what's going on, or not what's going on, but just manufacturing information, sizes of drives, used free space, the amount of hours they've been on, in this power on hours, by the way, this is how many hours they've been on total. Okay, this is the very first drive, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, this is the very first drive, I think, that I've ever owned, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it is. The very first Western Digital drive that I've ever owned. I've had this drive for several years, and you can tell, we're talking 30,305 hours of life has already gone through this drive, and it's still kicking. Still kicking. These I've had for probably a year now, and this one I've had for several years, so you can see the difference. Okay, it shows you this information. Here we go to games, and in game setting, if you have the game overlay, it'll show you the frames per second for the last minute or the last hour that you've been running through the game. If you're running 120, if you've been running 20 only, you can set it for individual games, Grand Theft Auto, Battlefield 4, Counter-Strike, League of Legends, I mean, any game you want, it'll detect it. It'll tell you what resolution, it'll tell your average frame rates, the amount of time that you played on it, the date that you played on it, and when you go in depth into the information, it'll tell you the minimum, maximum frame rates that were used. It'll show you a full graph of what frame rates you were hitting at certain times, including seconds, through the entire time that you were playing. It's just incredible. So if you ever want to see what's going on in your games, in every minute, in every second, or in every hour, this program will show you all that information in depth. Whew, it's a lot of talking. Here you have, for those of you that own Kraken, the Kraken X31, the X40, the X41, the X60, the X61, the X30, I believe is the other one. If you own any of those and you have them hooked up and you have this software, you get full control of your Kraken. You can create custom profiles. You can use profiles that are already in here. You can move these buttons around wherever you want to create custom fan curves and whatnot. I mean, it's incredible. You can set the fan speed themselves to run on basis of the liquid temperature, the CPU temperature, or the GPU temperature. So if your GPUs are known for getting way hotter than your CPU, for instance, and you just want to get that hot air out of your system fast so that it doesn't affect your GPU in any way, you can just use GPU and it'll pull all that air out of your system. Hell, you can even use, because the Kraken usually has about 4 plugs, you can use the GPU button to detect GPU temperatures, and when the GPU temperatures go up, you don't even have to have radiator fans plugged in to the Kraken. The Kraken, the Kraken radiator fans can be plugged in somewhere else, and you can have case fans hooked up to this, and you can use GPU temperature readings to ramp up the amount of intake or the amount of exhaust that's being pulled out of the system in order to keep your GPUs cool. So I mean, there's a lot of flexibility as to what you can do here. Let me save my settings. I don't want to destroy anything in there. Again, if you own the Kraken does have an RGB controlled water block. The water block itself is actually the pump, for those of you that are curious. So I mean, if I want to go full white, hit enter here, and there you go, change color. I mean, we have alternating colors. I mean, the amount of options that they give you here is just incredible. See through some of these things right quick. You have full off. There you go. It still says NZXT. That's good. And let me go back to my previous settings. I like the blue. Dark Void is known for being a very blue system, so. But yes, awesome amount of information. You got the fan speed. This is the radiator fan speed, the radiator fan RPM, the pump RPM. The pump is usually running high, but that's actually a good thing, considering that I am running a pretty good amount of liquid temperature. The liquid temperature is pretty good. Here we have the Grid Plus. For those of you that wonder, that I've always wondered how much control you will have over the Grid Plus within the CAM software. This is how much control. We're talking the ability to individually name each fan, so you know which fan it is that you're controlling. You're getting individual stats of how much RPM, fan speed percentage, the wattage that you're using per fan. You can see what fan curve you're using, the names that you apply to the fan curve. If you go into the change fan mode, for instance, it does have a manual mode where you can just come in here and just say, well, this bad boy, we're going to raise you all the way, and then hit accept. You might not hear it, or you might hear it, I don't know. It is pretty loud because those are radiator fans, but yes, again, it gives you full control of your system, of the peripherals, if you would, connected to the system. As long as they are NZXT, of course, they have to be NZXT products, but you do get full control of the products through the software. And then of course you have the newest one, which is the CAM software. CAM has become one of the, if I'm not mistaken, it's become one of the highest rated light controllers, RGB light controllers in the market right now, and you have full control over everything that's in CAM. Okay, if you want NVIDIA coloring inside your system, I mean, right now it doesn't show too well in the camera. It's actually way darker than you see here in the camera, but in person, I mean, we're talking a deep green, which is what I have it set to. Is a really dark deep green, which is what NVIDIA's color is usually. We have breathe modes here. I mean, we have fading. This one's pretty nice. It'll fade in between any number of colors, and it'll show every spectrum of color in between the 2 or 3 colors that you put in. Here we have marquee. We have covering marquee. We have pulse. Pulse is similar to the breathing, only when it comes on instant, but it fades away. Spectrum, which is the famous NZXT setting, which shows you all the colors. It just runs through all the colors on one strip and continues it. It's endless. And we have alternating. We have a law setting. Let's see. Give you the police officer look, or if you prefer a disco look, if you prefer that club look, or if you want to make your system look like it's underwater. I'm using the moving button for this setting to make it look like water is flowing over the system, or if you prefer your system to look like it's in hell, I guess. Gives it that fiery look. And then of course they added very recently the candlelight effect, which gives you a candlelight flicker to the hue plus. And here I've got another setting which gives it sort of an electrical flicker going on. So again, I mean, the amount of things that you can do is just, it's incredible. I mean, you have frames per second. It'll actually change to any one of these colors depending on how fast your frames per second are. GPU temperatures, again, you can change this to any color you want to represent certain temperatures. So when you're playing a game and you know you don't know your system is running hot, and you'd like to know if your system is running hot, you can set, okay, hot for me is red at 60 degrees Celsius, which, I mean, let's face it, it's getting pretty tempered at 60 degrees Celsius. So when the system hits 60 degrees Celsius, the lighting will fade into red to represent it. The CPU, for instance, if you're doing GPU, again, if the GPU hits 60 degrees and you have 60 degrees set to red, it will fade into red as soon as the GPU hits that. Custom allows you to do custom lighting combinations. There are 10 LED lights on each strip. You can do a total of 8 strips in a system. You have 2 channels. Each channel supports 4 strips, as you can see right here. You can individually set every single LED on each strip to a particular color, so you can have a fully custom lighting theme going on in your system at once, which is incredible. And then you have audio, which is in beta. It's been in beta for a long time. I guess they're trying to figure out, you know, the full kinks of how to get the audio to match the lighting just right. But I mean, right now I can set this and the music doesn't look like it's doing much. It is actually on, but the music is so low right now it won't detect it too well. I guess I can give you guys a quick demo of what that's like. Alright, so yeah, as you can see there, it still doesn't work as good as we want it, but it's still something. It's them at least trying, and I'm sure that they're working on it as we speak. They've been working on it for a while. They do have more things to come to the CAM software, but for instance, in the audio department, if you want to see you can hit this button right here, this click, and activate it. And when you play your games, the computer lighting will be affected by explosions in the game or just general audio happening inside the game, which is an awesome thing. Another great thing to show off here. Let's see. Let's turn this one off and then do fire on the top one. There you go. Now that's actually a very awesome representation of how cooling should be within a system, where the cool air is coming in through the front and the bottom and rising up and pushing all the hot air straight up to the top. I mean, that is the amount of customization that can be done with the Hue Plus, the Grid Plus, the Kraken, strictly through the CAM software is incredible. The amount of information, the amount of in-depth customization, the options that you get within the system. I mean, if you don't like this dark theme, they have a button that'll change it to a light theme. Like, you don't see that anywhere else, and it's something that I totally appreciate about NZXT and their dedication to just create something unique and awesome. And they even have a camera button. They have a message system, a notification system. The settings, it's very understandable, the settings. I mean, if you prefer Fahrenheit over Celsius, come here, hit that, and everything changes instantly. It's an instant thing. You don't have to restart the program or anything. It just happens. So that is it. That is my in-depth review of the CAM software. Let me know down in the comments what you think of this software, if you plan on using it, if you're already using it, if maybe some of the information I gave you about how the Kraken, the Grid Plus, and the Hue Plus are controlled, if that information helped you in deciding if maybe you want to buy the Grid, the Hue, or the Kraken water cooling systems. Let me know in the comments. Give me some fresh ideas. Just say hi. Let me know what you think of the video. Let me know ideas for future videos. Hit like if you like the video. If you dislike it, hey, whatever tickles you, go ahead and hit that dislike button. It helps me no matter what. Subscribe. Let me know what you guys want to see. By subscribing, you're not only helping me, but you're helping yourself, because then it gives you a direct connection to me, and it allows you to communicate with me more in depth and give me ideas for new content and new videos. Share my videos. Let people know, you know, if you think that the information was good and it was very helpful information, share it with people that might not know. The best thing we can do in this world is share information. Sharing is caring, people. Sharing is caring. Follow me on Facebook, Instam, and Instam. Nice job, Instam. I can't speak today. It's very early in the morning. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I post a lot of videos and a lot of photos of Dark Void in its different themes and whatnot. I do like custom lighting. I do plan on doing a case mod to the system in the near future. So yes, what more can I say? I mean, I'm out, I guess. I will see you guys in the next one. Be safe, stay safe, don't do drugs, say no to peer pressure. I'll check you guys later.